I watched the movie last night, my wife and myself. Thursday night, it opened up here down the street from my house. We were the only two people in the theater because...
What?
Yeah, well, because it's been advertised all over Phoenix that it opens on Friday. So I went to look. I told my wife, okay, we're going to go on Friday. Then she goes, it's opening tonight down the street on Thursday. So I said, you know what? I'm going to beat the rush. We went last night. All I could do is tell Solomon and Konzelman, your friends, tell them this is a theological masterpiece. This is going to pull in secularist, atheist, people of no faith. This is going to draw them in. It's going to make them take a second look at the supernatural. Father Darren, tell us a little bit about the movie because you had a lot to do with this.
Yeah, you know what? They Chuck and Carrie are such great writers. All they wanted to make sure with me is that we had no theological heresy in there. And I think you could honestly say, Jesse, there was not. There's a little creative. It was creative. It was solid. There's a little creative theology towards. I don't want to say it because it has to deal with the psychiatrist. We can always talk about that later, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks from down the road. But overall, when I first read it, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is a really good movie." I told everybody this is probably the most unique possession film you'll ever see in the history of film.
Without a doubt.
Second is in talking to Father Carlos Martins and myself, and we had a conversation at the premiere. And I've never done exorcisms. He's done quite a few, and I've never talked to Chad about this, Rippinger, Father Chad. But I would say that kind of conversation, you're not supposed to talk to a demon like we do in this film. But I think that the intellectual superiority of all angels, good or bad, that conversation, human beings always going to lose that conversation, and they are so. When you know that the demons are so unmerciful and just hate us with a passion, I think the film does a really good job of showing us how they think, kind of like a Screw Tape Letters, like a C.S. Lewis style of dialogue, and how they want to bring us to hell. And there's like the story that I've talked about on your show before, Jesse, when during the Satan squirrel story that happened during the part of the movie where the devil's explaining in detail what their plan is. I mean, we have our gospel and they have their dark gospel, and so what I love about it, there's no cussing, there's no dirty. I mean, it's super clean.
Yes.
And how I got a rated R rating is beyond my understanding.
Finger. That's what I was told. The broken finger. Got it.
I saw the movie Champions. About the special needs basketball. I thought it was gonna be like a clean, funny movie with Down syndrome. My best friend's child has Down syndrome, so I was like really excited to see what's. I told you can't watch this film with your kid because it's dirty. It's got cussing. It's got sexual innuendos, and the finger was broken in the basketball game, and it still got a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
How could that get a PG?
I agree with you, but that's what I was told. It was the finger breaking. Get it?
Yeah.
By the author of
total. Hollywood at its worst.
Yep, I agree.
Father Darren, this reminded me of the movie Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
It
very
really
clever.
It was the screenwriter Solomon and Konzelman. It was brilliant on their part, the way they weaved in the diabolical and the psychological compatibility that the demon has with the possessed person, and the way the person, they call it bipolar. You have the person's personality asserting itself, talking, speaking, asking for help. Then the demon takes over entirely the brain, the mind, the mouth, and they go back and forth. It was brilliant. It was masterful. And I can tell you, I've helped Father John Hamsch, rest in peace. I've helped Father Mike Sears. You well know him. Rest in peace.
Bob.
In this area, and I can tell you, what I saw in that movie was exactly consistent with what I've seen with my own two eyeballs. It was a masterful display of the way the diabolical compatibility with the human person, and the way they're able to at times just overtake them entirely. Father, was there any spiritual warfare issues that occurred while you were making the movie itself?
That's a good question.
You would only give me 5 minutes to do that.
That could take a whole hour.
Probably an hour worth. I'll just tell you my. Unfortunately, I have to give you the quick versions of it. My appendix. I had appendicitis. Didn't know. I thought it was heartburn.
Yep.
Then it started turning to appendicitis. On Our Lady's feast day of Guadalupe, I had found out that I went to the ER, had my appendix taken out that night.
Wow.
I was in extreme pain. There's a long story with that. Really, really painful. The doctor tells me the next day on December 13th, which is Our Lady, it was St. Lucy, right? Mm-hmm. And the lady who cleaned my room, her name was Lucille. And I knew then that not only did the Blessed Mother have my back, but the Lord said, hey, look, I'm bringing Lucille to clean your room on St. Lucy's feast day, which I took a picture of the board because nobody would have believed me. And then I told the directors, I say, I'm in the hospital. I'll be available on the 15th of December. And that's when the windstorm happened. And we were talking about the dark gospel in the movie there. And that's when the directors would say action, the wind would pick up. And they found out that was the worst windstorm in the history of Oklahoma ever on that day when we were filming. Wow. And every time we would say action, the wind would go up and it would be ripping the metal on top of the ceiling of this basketball court. And every time it sounded like the Titanic was about to split in half.
Wow.
And then every time they would say cut, the wind would stop. Action, the wind would take off.
Incredible.
Cut, it would go down. All day for 12 hours.
Nefarious, the movie, it starts today. Catholics, go out there and support this movie written by two great Catholic men. Father Darren, anything else?
Yes, you got to go see the film. It's an amazing, it's really, really good. If we want to make more of these type of films, we have to support it. We got to. Yes. If we're going to complain about culture and say, oh, we need more of this, we need more of these faith-based films, then support it so we can make more of them. Money, unfortunately, is what we need. There's nothing else. It's pretty simple. And you can buy, I don't know what else to say.
Father, let me jump in and say there's 16 or 18 other movies coming out right at the same weekend. So there's a lot of competition.
Like 6 or 7.
Yeah, that was told by the authors of the show. My point is, this is why we need to support this, because they're going to look at this. If we come out strong this weekend, it'll continue to go on. Is that a fair statement?
That's a very fair statement. And the funny part about all this is that when Nefarious decided to go on the 14th, all of a sudden the Pope's Exorcist changed his date to come out the 14th.
Exactly. That's my point.
All these other films decided, all of them. The devil knew what he was doing. He said, oh, you guys, you think you're smarter than me? Well, pick a date. And we did. And then all the devil goes, okay, I'm going to influence my people to pick the same date too. Yeah. And that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what I talk about.
I can tell you a lot of the movies that are coming out on the Diabolical are pure garbage, because all they are is gratuitous violence, gratuitous phenomena glorifying the devil. Not this movie. This movie captures the truth about Satan, demons, demonic forces, unlike anything you've ever seen on the screen, this movie Nefarious. And it's a perfect Trojan horse because it also introduces the reality of the culture wars to an audience that would never be attracted to a film about God. And I'm telling you, it's of the caliber of Silence of the Lamb. It also shows you the fullness of truth in Jesus Christ and the Catholic Church in a very subtle way. And it exposes the dark forces of Satan in this powerful film. Go out, Catholics, and watch it starting tonight, April 14th. Father, anything else?
Yes, not only should do that, just got to remember, too, that this film is, if you'll notice, it's not that pro-Christian either. I mean, it doesn't talk about Jesus at all, hardly. No. So it's an amazing feat. It's like Screw Tape Letters perfectly in the modern day context. It's really, really well done. I mean, seriously, they're saying this is one of the best movies of the year, and they're saying that, in fact, Sean Patrick's going to be nominated. They're going to try to get him nominated for an Oscar for his performance. They're sending in the paperwork right now for that.
Father, let me jump in one more time and say there are many fallen away Catholics who don't think that evil is out there. Isn't this a movie that can bring many souls back to the church?
I really hope so. I think they'll see the arguments that we make in the film of how evil is penetrating our culture.
Amen. Well, thank you again. People, go out to see that movie, Nefarious. Father, thanks for taking the time. God bless you.
Thank you, guys. God bless you. Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, Terry.
Got it, buddy.
Hey, Jess Romero, what state should we be living in, brother?
Live in a state of sanctifying grace. Don't live in a state of mortal sin. Pray a rosary every day.